Welcome to the 9th lecture on Module 1 of the Fluid Machinery course. In the previous lecture, we have discussed the velocity diagram of Pelton turbine and various practical considerations. In this session, we have two objectives. One is to find out an expression for the hydraulic efficiency of the Pelton turbine and also the condition for the maximum hydraulic efficiency and the value of maximum hydraulic efficiency when hemispherical vanes are used. The second objective is to solve a numerical problem based on the relations we derived and discussed so far. Out of the three possible cases of velocity triangles at outlet, I am choosing the first one, that is when VW2 is positive, applicable for a fast runner. We have a related question from the previous KTU examination. The question is this one: prove that the hydraulic efficiency of a Pelton turbine is maximum when the jet velocity striking the runner is twice the tangential velocity of the runner. That is, the jet velocity is V1 and the tangential velocity of the runner is U. Also, we will find the maximum hydraulic efficiency when hemispherical vanes are used. So let's first find out an expression for hydraulic efficiency. Ultimately, we have to prove that V1 is equal to 2U for maximum hydraulic efficiency. What is V1? V1 is the absolute velocity of the jet at inlet. That is the velocity with which the jet strikes at the splitter here. That is inlet 1 and outlet is 2. And the jet is deflected through an angle 180 minus phi, where phi is the vane angle at outlet. The whirl component of velocity at inlet VW1, that is equal to V1 itself. And VR1 is equal to V1 minus U. And we are familiar with all these components and angles already. Now let's proceed and find out an expression for hydraulic efficiency. And for that purpose, let us consider the outlet velocity triangle. From the outlet velocity triangle, we have VW2, that is equal to U2 minus this distance. From the left side portion of the right triangle, the base distance is equal to VR2 cos phi. So we are familiar with that relation already. So from the outlet triangle, VW2 is equal to U2 minus VR2 cos phi. And relative velocity at outlet VR2, and what is its relation with VR1, relative velocity at inlet? We know that for a pure impulse machine, ideally VR2 is equal to VR1. But practically, due to the blade surface friction, VR2 is equal to K times VR1, where K is the blade surface friction coefficient and the value of which is obviously less than 1. Usually it is between 0.8 and 0.9. So VR2 is equal to K times VR1 and VR1 is equal to V1 minus U. And VW2 is equal to U2 minus VR2 cos phi from the outlet velocity triangle. And VW2 is equal to U2 is in fact U itself minus VR2. For VR2, you please replace VR2 by K times VR1. So U minus K times VR1 cos phi. And again VR1, that is V1 minus U. So substitute VR1 is equal to V1 minus U here. So VW2 is equal to U minus K times V1 minus U into cos phi. So this is an expression for VW2. Remember, that is in terms of U, V1, angle phi and the blade friction coefficient K. And VW1 is already V1. So substitute now this VW1 and VW2 in the expression for runner power. And we already got an expression from our previous lectures that Euler's power or runner power is equal to rho Q into VW1 U1 minus VW2 U2. So this is the theoretical power or Euler's power for turbo machineries. especially for turbines, the order is rho Q into VW1 U1 minus VW2 U2. Power producing devices. For power consuming devices, this relation is rho Q into VW2 U2 minus VW1 U1. And we can make use of this relation for all turbines. In fact, even for Kaplan turbines and Francis turbines, which we are going to study in detail hereafter, in those cases also we can make use of this equation for Euler power. Even otherwise, from our basics, the theoretical work done per second by the jet on the vane, which we call Euler power or runner power in this case, is given by the tangential force Fx or the hydrodynamic thrust exerted by the jet on the vane multiplied by the velocity of the vane in the x direction. Here the direction of motion also is in the x direction for a horizontal jet. So that is Fx is m dot into Vw1 minus Vw2 into u. This relation you can use in this case. So runner power, which is the work done by water on the runner per second, or Euler power, that is a theoretical power. So that we can find out by using the relation Fx into u. And Fx in this case is mass flow rate striking the vane, that is m dot multiplied by Vw1 minus Vw2 into u. Remember, Vw1 and Vw2 are the world component of velocities. And in our previous lectures, I have already told you this world component of velocities are responsible for the torque generation and consequently the power generation. So mass flow rate multiplied by Vw1 minus Vw2, that is Fx, then that multiplied by u. Here there is no question of u1 and u2 because both are same. So what relation can you get? Mass flow rate m dot is equal to rho into q. So rho q into Vw1 minus Vw2 into u. So that is the expression you get for the runner power. So work done by water on the runner per second. In the case of Pelton wheel, u1 is equal to u2 is equal to say u. And even you can get the same expression from the expression for Euler power for turbo machines. So here when u1 is equal to u2, you will get the same expression for the runner power. So this is important even for solving numerical problems. You have to keep in mind. Actually, for calculating runner power, you need to get Vw1 and Vw2. And Vw1 is equal to V1 in the case of Pelton turbine, and Vw2 from the outlet velocity triangle you have to get. And if you make use of this relation, Vw2 is equal to u minus k into V1 minus u into cos phi. Now you can obtain the expression for runner power in terms of the absolute velocity of the jet V1 and the tangential velocity of the wheel u, and the angle of vane at outlet phi, and the blade surface friction coefficient k. So for the runner power, we have rho q into Vw1 minus Vw2 into u. So substitute for Vw1 and Vw2. So rho q, that is a mass flux, multiplied by, instead of Vw1 that is equal to V1, then minus Vw2, this long expression. But remember that is purely in terms of the input values V1, u, k and vane angle at outlet phi. So V1 minus, now instead of Vw2 within bracket this u minus k into V1 minus u into cos phi, then whole thing multiplied by u. So when you simplify this, you will get runner power is equal to rho q into V1 minus u, just open this bracket, minus u, and minus minus will become plus k into V1 minus u into cos phi, whole thing multiplied by u. Now rho q into, now within bracket this V1 minus u you can take common. So if you take V1 minus u out of the bracket, you will get rho q into V1 minus u, then within bracket what will remain? 1 plus k cos phi, then multiplied by, there is u outside. So this is an important expression for evaluating the runner power or theoretical power, theoretical Euler's power, that represents the work done per second by water on the runner. Rho Q into V1 minus U into 1 plus K cos phi into U. Hydraulic efficiency of the Pelton wheel, or eta suffix H. So that can be found out by run-up power by water power. That is work done per second by the water on the runner divided by the kinetic energy supplied by the jet per second. Now what is the water power or kinetic energy supplied by the jet per second in the case of Pelton wheel? Because the entire energy available with water is converted to kinetic energy before the entry to the turbine or before striking the vanes on the runner. So water power here you can calculate by our familiar equation half m dot v square, and where m dot is the mass flux, which is of course rho into q. What is q? Q is the flow rate. So rho into discharge or flow rate q multiplied by v1 square. So that is half rho q v1 square, that is the kinetic energy supplied by the jet per second. Now the hydraulic efficiency eta suffix h is equal to run-up power by water power, and run-up power is rho q into v1 minus u into 1 plus k cos phi into u, then divided by water power half rho q v1 square. And the mass flux rho q from both numerator and denominator will be getting cancelled, and this 2 from the denominator will go to the numerator. Then the relation for the hydraulic efficiency of the Pelton turbine is given by 2 into v1 minus u into 1 plus k cos phi into u divided by v1 square. Now the condition for maximum hydraulic efficiency. Just like in the previous cases, in order to maximize the hydraulic efficiency, so we'll take its derivative with respect to the velocity of the vane and equate it to 0. d by du of hydraulic efficiency 2 into v1 minus u into 1 plus k cos phi into u divided by v1 square and equate it to 0. Even though this is a lengthy expression, here the only variable is u with respect to which you have to take the derivative. So 1 plus k cos phi, then into 2 from the numerator and denominator v1 square. So these terms can be taken out of the derivative. So 2 into 1 plus k cos phi by v1 square can be taken out of the derivative, and what remains inside the derivative is simply v1 minus u into u. So since the first part, this part is not equal to 0, the derivative of this part, the other part should be equal to 0. So d by du of, you expand the bracket, v1 u minus u square is equal to 0. So that is, when you take the derivative, it will be v1 minus 2u is equal to 0 and v1 is equal to 2u. So this is the first part of the answer. That is, for maximum hydraulic efficiency, the condition is that the absolute velocity of jet striking the hemispherical vanes is equal to 2 times the tangential velocity of the wheel. Even when we considered series of flat vanes or series of symmetrical curved vanes fixed on the periphery of a wheel, we got the same condition for maximum hydraulic efficiency. Now, in order to get the value of maximum hydraulic efficiency, simply substitute this v1 is equal to 2u in the expression for hydraulic efficiency. See, we already have the hydraulic efficiency expression for the Pelton wheel, which is eta h is equal to 2 into v1 minus u into 1 plus k cos phi into u by v1 square. In this expression, if you substitute v1 is equal to 2u, you will get the maximum hydraulic efficiency. So that is 2 into, instead of v1, substitute 2u. So 2 into 2u minus u into 1 plus k cos phi into u divided by denominator v1 square. See, that instead of that you write 2u whole square. So what you get is, on simplification, 2u square by 4u square into 1 plus k cos phi. And u square will be cancelled, and On simplification, you will get 1 plus k cos phi by 2. So that is the expression for maximum hydraulic efficiency in the case of Pelton turbine. When k is equal to 1, maximum hydraulic efficiency will be 1 plus, instead of k, that is 1, so into cos phi by 2. So 1 plus cos phi by 2. So 1 plus cos phi by 2, that is the maximum hydraulic efficiency of the Pelton turbine, ideally where phi is the vane angle at outlet. For perfect hemispherical vane, the angle phi is equal to 0. Angular deflection is 180 degree. And if you substitute over here 1 plus cos 0 by 2, that is the maximum hydraulic efficiency when we use perfect hemispherical vanes on the Pelton turbine runner. So 1 plus cos 0, that is 1, 1 plus 1 by 2, that is equal to 1, and if you convert that into percentage, it is 100%. So 100% will be the hydraulic efficiency when we use perfect hemispherical vanes on the runner of a Pelton turbine. But unfortunately, due to some practical disadvantages, so we will never use angular deflection as 180 or perfect hemispherical vanes on the Pelton turbine runner. In fact, that side clearance angle phi is never kept at 0. It is usually kept between 10 and 20 degrees. And we explained the practical considerations in the previous lecture. Water power can be expressed in terms of net head also. So that is quite useful in the case of other turbines. And here we have considered the kinetic energy supplied by the jet per second as the water power, that is half rho q V1 square. And if we make use of the net head available at inlet, that is H, capital letter H, that is representing the net available head for producing work. So velocity of water jet can be found out by using the velocity of efflux equation, Torricelli's equation of velocity of efflux, that V1 is equal to root of 2gh. By the simple consideration that the entire head associated with water is converted to kinetic energy. So when you use that, H is equal to V1 square by 2g in the nozzle. So V1, the absolute velocity of the jet then will be given by V1 is equal to root of 2gh. That is V1 square is 2gh. So here the kinetic energy per second supplied by the jet, we already used the expression half m dot v square, that is half rho q into V1 square, and that is half rho q into what is V1 square, that is 2gh ideally. If the losses in the nozzle is ignored, then this velocity V1, that is the velocity of the water jet, will be equal to root of 2gh. In actual practice, the actual velocity of the jet will be Cv into root of 2gh. That is, we will multiply this theoretical velocity by a constant coefficient that for the nozzle, that is called coefficient of velocity for the nozzle, Cv. And the value of Cv ranges between 0.95 and 0.99. If you are asked to assume a value, then you can take Cv is equal to 0.98. Ideally, Cv is equal to 1. And in that case, actual velocity of the jet will be equal to theoretical velocity when Cv is equal to 1. Otherwise, actual velocity of the jet will be V1 is equal to Cv into root of 2gh. Then water power will be equal to half rho q V1 square, half rho q into 2gh, that is instead of V1 square we substitute. So rho q g h, that is expression for water power. So this is an important expression. For all hydraulic turbines, irrespective of whether they are impulse or reaction category, you can make use of this expression rho q g h. Remember, q is the flow rate or the discharge handled by the turbine, rho is the mass density of water, and g is the gravitational acceleration, and h is the net available head at the inlet to the turbine for producing mechanical work. Now we will solve a numerical problem. Question is this: a Pelton wheel having a mean bucket diameter of 1.2 meters is running at 1000 rpm. The net head on the Pelton wheel is 840 meters. If the side clearance angle is 15 degrees and discharge through the nozzle is 0.12 meter cube per second, determine the power available at the nozzle, and 2, the hydraulic efficiency of the turbine. So we are already familiar with this velocity triangle. So if you require the world component of velocities at inlet and outlet for the run-up power calculation, so we have to consider the velocity triangle. Here the net head on the Pelton wheel for producing useful work is 840 meters, that is net head capital H is equal to 840 meters. The mean bucket diameter is 1.2 meter. Remember, that is the effective diameter of the Pelton wheel. So that is represented by capital D, that is given as 1.2 meters. The side clearance angle is given as 15 degrees. See, the side clearance angle means the vane angle at outlet phi. So the angle phi is 15 degrees here. Remember the rotational speed here, what is written is 100 rpm. It is not 100, it is 1000 rpm. And the discharge Q is equal to 0.12 cubic meter per second. We know that the tangential velocity of the wheel u is found out by pi dn by 60. So if you substitute over here pi dn by 60, diameter is 1.2, that is the mean bucket diameter or effective diameter of the Pelton wheel, and rpm n is 1000, then divided by 60. So if you make use of that, then the tangential velocity of the wheel is 62.832 meter per second. So if you require the help of various velocity triangles in different cases, these are the velocity triangles which we discussed the other day. Of course, we need not use all of them together. We require a sample velocity triangle for finding out the world component of velocity at outlet, preferably the first one when VW2 is positive. So here the tangential velocity of the wheel, we got 62.832 meter per second. Now the velocity of the jet. How do we find out the velocity of jet? That is V1 given by CV into root of 2gh. The water power available at the nozzle, that can be found out by using the equation rho q g h, where h is the net head available and g is the gravitational acceleration, q is the flow rate, and rho is the mass density of water. So ideally the kinetic energy is supplied per second by the jet, that is half rho q v1 square. That can also be used provided in the expression for velocity v1, cv is equal to 1. v1 is equal to cv into root of 2gh. When cv is equal to 1, that is an ideal case. Now how do we find out the run-up power? So the basic important equation run-up power is rho q into Vw1 u1 minus Vw2 u2. That is a general one for all turbines. And here we have u1 is equal to u2 is equal to u. So therefore run-up power will become rho q into Vw1 minus Vw2 into u. This u can be taken out, common. And in our previous derivation for the run-up power, we got an expression rho q into v1 minus u into 1 plus k cos phi into u. This expression for run-up power, if you know this expression, then you don't require the values of Vw1 and Vw2. So if you keep this relation in mind, then you don't require Vw2 separately. This is a question. The first part, the power available at the nozzle or the water power, that is given by rho q gh, and the mass density of water is 1000 kilogram per meter cube, gravitational acceleration 9.81 meter per second square, The discharge or the flow rate given is 0.12 meter cube per second, and the net head available at the turbine inlet is 840 meters. So if you substitute rho, Q, G and H over here, so what you can get is 9,88,848 watts or 988.848 kilowatts. That is the water power or the power available at the inlet to the turbine, or power available at the nozzle here is given by this expression. Now the hydraulic efficiency. We know that the hydraulic efficiency is the ratio of runner power to water power. So runner power in the case of Pelton turbine is given by rho Q into V1 minus U into 1 plus K cos phi into U. And now how to get the absolute velocity of the jet? K is the blade surface friction coefficient. Ideally the value of K is equal to 1. Since that is not given in this question, so you can consider that K is equal to 1. Usually the value of K ranges between 0.8 and 0.9. And V1 ideally is equal to root of 2gh. Actual velocity of the jet, whereas CV into root of 2gh, keep in mind CV lies between 0.95 to 0.99 usually for a nozzle, coefficient of velocity for the nozzle. So treating this as an ideal case, you can substitute K is equal to 1 and V1 is equal to root of 2gh, root of 2 into 9.81 into 840. So the absolute velocity of the jet, that is 128.377 meter per second. And now we got all the values required for evaluating the runner power. So runner power is equal to rho Q into V1 minus U into 1 plus K cos phi into U. Just substitute the various values in this expression for runner power. So rho Q 1000 into 0.12, V1 minus U, that is 128.377 minus 62.832, then 1 plus K cos phi, that is 1 plus K is equal to 1, then into cos 15, side clearance angle or vane angle at outlet phi is 15 here, then into U, that is 62.832. When you simplify, you will get 9,71,566.63 watts. That is the runner power or work done per second by water on the runner. That is the theoretical value of the work done per second. Then in kilowatt, that will be 971.567. Now the hydraulic efficiency of the turbine, eta suffix h, that is equal to runner power by water power. So runner power is 971.567 kilowatt and water power is 988.848 kilowatt. You will get 0.9825. And if you convert that into percentage by multiplying by 100, then you will get 98.25%. That is the hydraulic efficiency of the Pelton turbine given.